In the period of late 2011, U.S. President Barack Obama inaugurated a Pacific Century, or a Pacific Pivot, which expands U.S. military presence in the naval theaters of the Pacific and Indian Oceans. This expansion has been seen as an attempt to contain China and erode its regional sovereignty by building up a presence in bordering territories. Barack Obama's rebalance to the Pacific includes plans that would take effect over the coming years to station 4 littoral combat ships in Singapore, to obtain increased U.S. access to the Australian naval base at Perth, and increase troop levels at Darwin to 2,500 troops. There are also plans to expand troops in South Korea to 28,500, to expand troop presence in Guam, the Philippines, Japan, and to maintain the forward deployment of U.S. aircraft carriers in that theater. China has responded to increased U.S. presence in the Pacific with the Area Denial Anti-Access Strategy, Chinese military measures to keep adversaries out of strategic territory bordering their country, in particular the East China Sea. In addition, the Pacific Strategy also includes a missile defense shield, which would be on the soil of South Korea, Japan, and Australia, targeting Asia and the Middle East. As a response to what was seen as an Asia-Pacific arms race, Chinese press indicated that to improve its security, China would upgrade its nuclear weapon capability. They would also develop offensive nuclear-powered submarines with ballistic missile capabilities sufficient to break the interception capability of the U.S. missile defense system. In the spring of 2012, there was further warning that an overarching missile defense system would force China to change its long-held nuclear policy, that China would revisit its policy of no first use and, if threatened, would consider an offensive nuclear strike.
Now to what the Obama administration is calling a dangerous intercept and a very close call involving an American surveillance plane and a Chinese fighter jet. It happened earlier this week in international airspace off China's southeastern coast. Margaret Brennan has more.
This armed Chinese fighter jet came within 20 feet of a U.S. Navy P-8 Poseidon aircraft on Tuesday. So close, the pilots could see each other. They just narrowly avoided colliding. The Pentagon said despite being in international airspace over the South China Sea, the Chinese J-11 fighter jet made 5 dangerous and aggressive passes. First, the jet flew under the slow-moving U.S. plane. Then it flashed past the nose of the aircraft at a 90-degree angle. The Pentagon said the jet exposed its belly to the U.S. plane to make a point of showing its weapons. The jet then went back under the P-8 before coming alongside the plane. Flying wingtip to wingtip, the two aircraft were just 20 feet apart. Then the Chinese fighter pilot performed a barrel roll over the U.S. plane at close range, passing within 45 feet. The risky incident is the latest in a series of close encounters between the two countries, which are trying to assert their military might in the South China Sea. Similar flybys happened in March, April, and May, all conducted by the same unit of the Chinese Air Force based on Hainan Island. But Pentagon spokesman John Kirby said this week's incident was the most aggressive.
The message we're sending back to China is that's unacceptable and unhelpful to the military relationship that we would like to have with them.
The Obama administration said it has strong concerns that this incident is a violation of international law. Pentagon and State Department officials registered formal diplomatic complaints. For CBS This Morning Saturday, Margaret Brennan, The Pentagon.
Chinese experts say the U.S. surveillance aircraft posed a threat to their country's military security over the South China Sea. The comment comes after the U.S. claimed an armed Chinese fighter jet came as close as 10 meters underneath its aircraft 3 times.
The intercept took place about 135 miles east of Hainan Island in international airspace. We have registered our strong concerns to the Chinese about the unsafe and unprofessional intercept, which posed a risk to the safety and the well-being of the aircrew and was inconsistent with customary international law. Basically, if here's your P-8, your jet fighter going over like this. So pretty aggressive and very unprofessional.
In recent months, the South China Sea has seen flare-ups over maritime claims involving multiple countries. However, Beijing continues to oppose any outside involvement in such disputes. And the P-8 surveillance aircraft is no stranger to China. Last December, the U.S. deployed 6 P-8 aircraft to its air base in Japan, shortly after China established its air defense identification zone over the East China Sea.
Foreign ministers and senior diplomats from 27 nations converged in Myanmar for ASEAN, Asia's highest-profile diplomatic meeting this year. The U.S. has been pressuring China to rein in its assertive actions in the disputed South China Sea. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says an American-backed initiative to ease tensions there had made some progress.
We made the points that we came to make. We weren't seeking to pass something per se. We were trying to put something on the table that people could embrace.
But China appeared to rebuff U.S. pressure. Southeast Asian nations also declined to overtly back Washington's proposal for a freeze on provocative acts. The rancor over the disputed sea has split the 10 members of ASEAN. Several states are reluctant to take China to task, fearing they could jeopardize their rising trade and investment ties.
The North Korean video shows the White House in the crosshairs, the U.S. Capitol blowing up. The latest messages posted by the North Korean government online, a further sign of what the U.S. worries is an increasingly unpredictable Kim Jong-un, the North Korean leader who threatens war with the United States and South Korea.
We've begun a review that will identify our most important strategic interests and guide our defense priorities and spending over the coming decade. So here's what this region must know. As we end today's wars, I have directed my national security team to make our presence and mission in the Asia-Pacific a top priority. As a result, reductions in U.S. defense spending will not, I repeat, will not come at the expense of the Asia-Pacific. My guidance is clear. As we plan and budget for the future, we will allocate the resources necessary to maintain our strong military presence in this region.
превращается в тень, превращается в прах. Ой, позабудь и поверь, смерть будет только одна. Ночь упирается в дверь. Здесь легче дышать, здесь чище вода. Легко отыскать дорогу сюда. Но тот, кто пришел, останется здесь. Ночь превращается в день, день превращается в бой, бой превращается в лень, лень превращается в бой, кровь превращается в путь, испаряюсь от дна, пар превращается в путь, путь в город желтого сна. Здесь легче дышать, здесь чище вода.
Submarines, various kinds of ships, a vast accumulation of U.S. troops in that whole region with auxiliary side in. You're looking at World War III and nothing less than that.
It would come as a surprise. The secure communication system transmitting to the Ohio-class U.S. submarine fleet would be the first to receive the command. Patrolling both the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, they are undetected. Fourteen of the 18 warships are equipped with 24 Trident missiles each, Trident 1s and Trident 2s. The remaining 4 are armed with 154 Tomahawk cruise missiles, which can be outfitted with nuclear warheads. The fleet as a whole represents half of the United States' strategic thermonuclear capability. A single Trident II missile is equipped with up to 8 nuclear warheads aboard a multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle, or MIRV. A single W-88 warhead delivers the equivalent of 475 kilotons of TNT. In the case of a full deployment, the United States could unleash over 400 such missiles with between 6 and 8 warheads each. Re-entering the atmosphere, the decoys burn off, and the warheads enter their terminal phase. It will be less than 180 seconds before they touch down.